Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah and I am the style coach. Today's video is all about how to use your colour palette once you have had your colour consultation, whether online or in person. If you're curious about any of my services, please check out my frequently asked questions page on my website. It's linked below, or you might be interested in one of my online courses, which are also in the description down below. If you like this video and learned something new, please feel free to click that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And let's get started with today's video. Over my years of doing colour analysis with people, what I've realised is that people can't wait to get their hands on their colour palette. And I want to stress that colour palettes are a wonderful thing. Colour analysis is a wonderful thing. Knowing your best colours is fantastic. However, having one of these, whether it's one of these printed ones or whether you have your fabric swatches, is not the be-all and end-all of the result of your analysis. Let me explain why. While these are great, there's limitations to them. The colours that are available to you within your sub-season, whether you're a warm spring or a light summer, cannot possibly fit on one piece of paper or in fabric swatches in a wallet. There's just too many of them. So people get hung up on trying to match clothes and items of, accessories, all these things. They're trying to match the exact colour, and that's not the idea of having a colour palette. You do not have to match your clothes exactly to the colours that you see here on your colour palette. It is far more important and more useful for you to understand the characteristics of a colour that you're looking at. And more importantly, whether you've had a consultation with myself or with somebody else, they should let you know what you should be looking for primarily in your colours, and of course the secondary characteristic as well. Let me tell you a little bit about that. Let's take cool winter as an example. The primary characteristic of cool winter is the coolness. Okay, that's the first word that comes to mind. This means that the main quality in these colours and in your features is that you have a coolness about you. There's blue undertones to the colours that are in your hair perhaps. There's coolness in the skin, whether it's pinky or ashy tones. There's coolness there as a dominant characteristic. So when you look at your colours, the first thing you should be asking yourself is, when you see a new colour, do I see coolness in this colour, or do I see any kind of warmth, or am I not sure? Is it in a neutral space? You want to be sure that you can say, yes, I see coolness in this colour. I see more blue in it than I see yellow in it. That is going to help you out far more than trying to match up with your colour palette. The second question you're going to ask yourself if you're a cool winter is this a bright colour or is it a soft colour? If you're a cool winter, you're going to want to lean into those brighter colours instead of the muted colours of summer. So if you know what your season is and your sub-season, then you will have your key questions. If you're a warm spring, you're going to be looking for warm primarily. If you can tick that box, you're most of the way there. Second of all, you're going to be looking for those high intensity colours as well. So understanding your questions and the qualities in your colours and in your features, far more important than anything that your palette is going to show you. Begin to train your eye to see these qualities in the colours, and in that way you won't even need this. And I always stress that to my clients. Over time, you're not even going to need this palette. You will know over time from training your eye what to look for and what to avoid. But let's say you go out to the shops and you do have your colour palette with you because you've just had your colours done and you're feeling quite new to the whole thing. And you're thinking, well, where do I start with this? Let's say you're browsing in a shop and you come across a sweatshirt in this beautiful pumpkin orange colour and you're thinking, gosh, it's autumn or fall and wouldn't this be lovely because I see those colours everywhere. All right. What do we do now with our colour palette? The idea is to look at your colour palette, put this fabric near it, and ask yourself, do I see a relationship between this colour and the colours that are here on the colour palette? You will see pretty clearly that there's little or no correlation between what's going on here on the palette and this pumpkin orange. Let's try something else. Maybe they have the same sweatshirt in this fuchsia pink. Now we put this up to our colours. This feels like it belongs much better than the pumpkin orange. This is a much better way to use your colour palette, I believe, because it is going to, as we say in Ireland, wreck your head when you're trying to match up fabrics exactly to what's going on in your palette. It's going to be very difficult. The shops not always are going to be able to provide what's going on here in your palette. It's better to understand if a colour belongs to that set of colours in your colour palette, or does it feel like it's part of a different family? That is far more helpful than trying to be very matchy with the new item of clothing and your colour palette. If you've just had your colour consultation done and you're thinking, okay, where do I go from here? There's certain things that you can do immediately to start implementing the new knowledge. And there's other things that are going to happen over time. What you want to be making sure from now on is that you're trying to get the best colours closest to your face. So they're going to be the ones that are in your colour palette. You might say to yourself, well, you know what? I've got colours that are clearly not belonging to this family, and it's a sweatshirt and it's near my face. This is where you think about possibly using scarves. Scarves are wonderful things to get the best colour next to your face. I don't believe in throwing things out of the wardrobe just because the colours aren't quite right. Use them until they're not wearable anymore because they're threadbare. And then when it comes to buying something new, that is when you really begin to focus in on your colour palette. Doesn't mean that you really only have to focus on clothes that are going to be next to your face. So whether that's a sweatshirt, a scarf, maybe earrings or makeup, anything that sits around the face, is that the only place that we need to be concerned about when getting our colours right? Yes, in a way. So the colours are always going to interact most with our face, obviously the ones that are closest to it. However, if you really want to have a cohesive wardrobe going forward, you will focus all your energy on choosing colours, part of your family of colours that you have in your colour palette, whether it's your shoes, trousers, a skirt, a handbag, nail colour, anything at all, you're going to want to choose from your colour palette. Why? Because that means that over time, when you open up that wardrobe, you're going to see your colour palette reflected back at you. This means that everything in the wardrobe has the same characteristics, which means they mix and match really well together. You can pick a scarf and a coat and a handbag and shoes and simply put them together because they share the same qualities, and that makes an outfit come together. It also means that you actually need less in the wardrobe. So you don't need to go shopping as frequently because you'll have loads of combinations and permutations in your wardrobe simply by pairing things differently. So you will begin to see the effects immediately, but also you will reap the benefits for a long time to come. If you know your sub-season, it's really worthwhile knowing what your sister season is. This also opens up more choice to you, but you've got to be selective with your sister season. What do I mean by sister season? They share the same dominant characteristic. So in other words, if you are a cool winter, cool summer shares the same dominant characteristic of cool. When you look at these two palettes next to each other, you'll see that there is a connection in terms of their coolness. The difference is that one is going to be much softer and one is going to be brighter. That's the winter and that's the summer. So you can definitely choose some of the punchier colours from summer because they're still cool. They're still going to work for you somewhat. So it's definitely worthwhile knowing, and this is something your colour consultant should talk through with you, because that also means that you have a greater choice And again, it's about taking that dominant characteristic of whatever it is for you, whether you're light or dark or warm or cool or bright or soft. Knowing that is very valuable. Your secondary characteristic, less important, still important, but less so. So when you know your sister season, it just broadens up the range of colours available to you. Lastly, what I want to mention is about how to use your colour palette is that it allows you to embrace colour trends very wisely. You'll see with the passing of time that right now, as we speak, pink is trending, and knowing what type of pink can really work for you, because if you choose to buy into trends, choose wisely. Choose the trends that come from your colour palette, because over time, they're going to stick around with you for a lifetime. Whereas if you buy into neons and things like this that come and go, you'll buy them and wear them for a season. They may not work so well for you, and then you'll be tired of them come next year. Whereas if you see emerald green is trending and it's in your colour palette, you know what? That's a good trend to buy into, because you know it's going to work for you long after this trend passes, helping you get more out of your clothes and spend your money more wisely. So the bottom line is, don't get too hung up on trying to be very matchy-matchy with your colour palette and with your new items of clothing or what's in your wardrobe. It's not about that. It's training your eye to understand the characteristics of a colour. This comes with practice. It comes with time. Over time, you won't need your colour palette. If you'd like your own online or in-person colour consultation, please do get in touch. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Take care. Bye bye.